gonna go. Be waiting for you. Look how you do.
Philadelphia in 1958, dope got me in trouble. I suppose it had just been a question of time. We had just played a dance and were sitting around the dressing room when the cops barged in, screaming, "Nobody move," and hauled our asses off to jail. They found a little grass in the corner. Funny thing about that bust, I heard later that the promoter, who was a disc jockey, had caught someone smoking a reefer in the dressing room and called the fuzz. He was one of those cats who literally despised drugs. I used to be that person. And then I realized life is hard. I don't have no issues with nobody that decides to get high. What I have an issue with is when you involve children. When you know you round here and you got a blue pill addiction and you selling that vagina without protection and you letting these tricks shoot their man juice all up in your blue pill vagina, and then here comes a baby addicted because you can't control your addiction. That's what I got a problem with. But believe it or not, this time we happen to be straight. I was really clean. We were sharing the dressing room with another band. It was actually their shiz, and we were just there, waiting to go on. Didn't matter, because the charges were dropped. When they found the grass, it was all by itself, just sitting there and attached to no one in particular. So they couldn't prove who it belonged to. Naturally, it made the papers. Ray Charles busted. But that didn't bother me none. In fact, the whole episode didn't shake me as much as you might guess. If anything, it pissed me off and left me more hostile towards the law and maybe a tad more defiant. I don't mean I went around smoking grass in public or cooking up heroin on stage, but the experience didn't cool me out either. Other people have asked me how I could trust any of the dope since I couldn't see it. Well, how do the sighted folks know what kind of weed they're smoking or what kind of booger sugar they're snorting? 9 out of 10 times they rely on the cat who copped it for them. They don't put the shiz under a microscope and examine it. Unfortunately, there are no government regulations, so we might be able to know something about what we're smoking. Blindness has nothing to do with it. We all go into drugs blind. Word. Let me tell you people something. Listen, anybody who do drugs and they have a OD, except for kids because they stupid. But if you're a grown person and you're doing drugs, whatever it is you're doing, whether it be booger sugar, whether it be dope, whether it be pills, whatever it is, you know we're living in a time where Mother Hunchies is mixing that fifi with everything. Okay? That wasn't a concern then. I mean, it was, they might mix BC powder with some booger sugar or, I don't know what they put in dope. That's not my concern. I don't do that stuff. And pills, they pressing them with that fifi. Now, when it comes down to you overdosing because you were not aware of what was in the drugs, that's bullshit. Nobody should get charged for, let's say, selling someone anything, and the anything ended up being mixed with fifi, because we're living in a time where everything is mixed with the fifi. Matter of fact, I was at work the other day, and one of them people was saying that they were smoking weed with a person they didn't know, and the person ended up putting the fifi in the weed, and the girl ended up in the emergency room. So you taking a chance when you get high, period. There's no, I didn't know. Listen, we living in the age of the fifi. And if you Mother Hunchies want to jump out there and take chances with smoking the weeds, popping the perkins, shooting the doper. Or even, I don't know if you can do crack. Like to me right now, crack is like the safest drug in the world right now. Or for real, I don't know. Okay? That's on you. There's a 50-50 chance that you're going to be caught up with the 50. You taking that chance. And baby, that's on you. Anyway, I proceed. So many of the writers and people observing me just didn't understand that I knew what I was doing. I was conscious. I was alive. I was making the decisions. In fact, my manager, Jeff Brown, that would be Clifton Powell's character, hated dope. Jeff and I were very close in those years. He was like my brother. I was with him every day, and yet I never shot up in his presence just because I knew it disturbed him. Same went for the people at the Shaw Agency or Atlantic Records. They didn't condone my habit. No one was making sure I stayed loaded. They just put up with it because it was part of me. And I understand why he's mentioning this, because so many people say that Puffy, for example, that labels made sure that their artists were high so that they could control it. That's what happened with the Mary J. Blige. She coming into the studio to create music, and Diddy like, okay, before you get in the booth, I need you to 3 for some with these people right here. No, come back. Do this boogity sugary first, and then go in there and do this 3 for some, and and then we'll come up with the music. All the bullshit in the press only seemed to attract more people to my dates, made them curious, and kept them thinking about me. Rightly or wrongly, I began to see what living in a glass house was like. My dope thing probably hurt B more than anyone. I regretted that the most, but not enough to make me quit. So I tried to keep it away from her. During this period, we were already set on 2 different courses, though we were still in love with each other. In 1958, my second son, David, was born. Naturally, I was happy, and yet I still couldn't spend much time at home. If we had a week-long gig at a club, I'd send for B, and sometimes she'd come. But traveling with little babies was difficult, and she wasn't a great lover of the road. She had choices to stay home. If she had wanted to come with me, even to sing, as I later suggested, I would have welcomed it. But B was a lady who loved home life, and she loved her little boys. That would make me think that she was a Cancer. I don't know what B was, but if you guys know, please put it down below. I take it back, because you know how them Cancers do. Child, wham, what the baby gonna do? Girl, they be like, wham, I'm in the house. You don't spend no time with me. Come up the road. You don't spend no time with me and the kids. You want to shake them and be like, bitch, he is making the music. Yeah, he cheating on you. He cheating. But Cancers, it's like they are never happy. They will always find a reason to cry and complain about something. And 9 times out of 10, it's because the nigga don't want to stick up their ass all day. Y'all mad, but I mean, where's the lie? After David was born, we moved to Los Angeles, but that didn't change our arrangement much. I was still living on the road for the most part, and B still stuck to the house. I tried to keep my drugs and my women away from B. I'd fix it so she wouldn't be getting phone calls or letters. I respected the home she had built up for us. On the other hand, I didn't stay there for long. I had worked my whole life to be in a position where people would be coming to hear my music. Now that they were actually paying decent money, I couldn't turn it down. B understood. She left me alone, and I left her alone. We made our choices. We followed our own instincts, and in some ways, those instincts set us out in such different directions that neither one of us was willing to turn around. You'll see what I mean later. I mentioned to you that in 1959 I was ready to put the era of dances behind me. Some of my nasty experiences had given me the nerve to tell the Shaw agency that I wouldn't play gigs like that anymore. Now I was banking on my ability to get decent concert jobs and nightclub engagements. I no longer wanted to take the chance of getting clubbed or shot. I didn't need that kind of shiz. Yeah, because you somebody daddy now. You ain't got time for that booze. I called Jerry Wexler from the road and I told him that I was coming to New York with something new to record. I've been playing it, I said, and it's pretty nice. That was further than I usually went with Jerry. I don't believe in giving myself advance notices, but I figured this song merited it. We made the record in 1959 and it became my biggest hit to date, like hallelujah. It sold to whites and blacks alike. Although not everyone dug it, it was banned by several radio stations. They said it was suggestive. Well, I agreed. I'm not one to interpret my own songs, but if you can't figure it out, what I say, then something's wrong. Either that or you're not accustomed to the sweet sounds of love. A few years before What I Say, sometime in 1956, I recorded my first album. I had made dozens of singles by that time, but I hadn't put together an album of my own with a concept and tunes that related to each other. I used my own band and arrangements by my partner, Quincy Jones, and me. Atlantic called this album The Genius of Ray Charles. I had been called other names: the High Priest, the Reverend, the Right Reverend, Brother Ray, but it was the boys at Atlantic who started using the genius level. That's crazy. Because wasn't Atlantic responsible for calling Aretha Franklin genius? I mean, she is what she is, you know what I'm saying? But maybe that's what Atlantic Records do. You know, when they believe in you, they consider your work genius. It wasn't my idea. Calling someone a genius is some heavy shiz, and I'd never have used the word in regards to myself. I think I'm pretty good at what I do, but I've never considered myself a genius. Yet between Atlantic and the public, the name stuck. That and Brother Ray. I saw it as a high compliment, and I certainly didn't complain. If the public accepted that, fine. On the other hand, I tried very hard not to let myself feel pressure. I didn't want to feel compelled to live up to the name, and I haven't thought of myself as a genius before or since. I go by Brother Ray. This completed an era for me. By the end of 1959, I had changed labels, left Atlantic and gone with ABC. It was a tough move for me, and I loved the Atlantic people, but it was probably the smartest money decision of my life. ABC made an offer to my manager and booking agent, which was hard to pass up. They told me that in addition to 5% of the royalties, high for the time, they'd give me 7.5 cents of every dime's worth of profit for my services as producer of my own material. ABC had a rhythm and blues gap which they were counting on me to fill. I didn't plan to do that exactly. I didn't tell anyone what was rattling round inside my head, but I did have a few thoughts of my own. Meanwhile, I also had trouble from the law. In 1961, I'm sound asleep in a hotel room in Indianapolis. And when I sleep, baby, I sleep. Nothing wakes me. I've slept through electrical storms on planes and earthquakes on the ground. But this morning, someone banging and banging and banging at my door so goddamn hard that my head's about to split open. Usually, I don't open the door for nobody. Can't see who it is and don't like to take chances, but I'm half asleep, half crazy. Who is it? Western Union. If I'd been awake, I would have told the cat to slip the telegram under the door. But my mind was still foggy with dreams. Like a fool, I opened the door. Boom.
Anything